Hi, my name is Staff Sergeant Lucero. I'd like to tell you about a recent briefing I got from HQ regarding the new GeoGuard initiative. The idea is that National Guard missions would be better off if we could have a structure in which we could house ARNG, ANG, and NGB data so that it could work well with other government agencies. Currently, it's not very easy for us to share data in an emergency, and that's when we need it the most. With smaller projects, the chain of command is easy to see. But in this case, we might call it the octopus of needs because there are a lot of departments and agencies that we have to answer to when we're deployed. Imagine how much value this would bring if National Guard Bureau could efficiently serve geospatial logistics to all the players involved. So, which of our operations require geospatial data? The easy answer is everything that requires the resources on our base. Natural disaster, terrorist event, or border protection. This means that we need to track our infrastructure and resources through a GIS. And not only do we need to define the footprint of these things, but we need to understand their temporal status. In the previous example, more than one person needs to know this information immediately after the disaster. Someone might be trying to identify 4 of these locations over a tri-state area. In order to do this, the data would need to be viewed centrally and overlaid with layers from other local agencies. In the case of Katrina, I found this hard to do. Not all of our warehouses were labeled with available space. A GeoGuard common operational picture consistent with the other DoD branches would solve this. There is no doubt that it will be a cultural challenge for us to adopt this way of thinking. I know that my boss here on base is making his decisions based on his local needs. It seems that my job is done when I GPS a new building footprint and print off a map to plan for new utilities to be run into the building. But that doesn't satisfy the octopus of needs. I've worked in some interagency GIS group exercises, and it's apparent that we struggle to get data from the neighboring state guard on the same map. I can only imagine the delays that happen when the Joint Chiefs make their geospatial intel requests. At the briefing I attended, many E5s like me could identify with the problem. So how can GeoGuard be created? An enterprise leadership is forming to create a conduit for the state's data to easily migrate into a national map. They'll be in charge of figuring out the logistics regarding data standards, web architectures, and technical support. This can't be done overnight, so they'll have to prioritize which actions can immediately fulfill the core missions. Gotta know where roads are and what's in buildings. So I think about how this will impact me. I figure that I'll eventually be given a data model to follow to allow a regional map to be compiled. But I'll still be building a statewide data repository, with a small percentage related to our local base, and a large percentage coming from our interagency partners. Leaning on these local relationships, we can focus more on decision support needs, rather than a monumental data maintenance task. If we're doing all this from all the states simultaneously, then our core datasets would still rest within our state offices. But GeoGuard would probably take advantage of the new movement towards a service-oriented architecture. In a nutshell, this means that each state would still maintain its data as it always has, but it would be served out as a map service. Those agencies that threw in with us would have access to these services and could view our real-time data whenever they needed it. No emails, no phone calls, no bottlenecks. These types of secure systems are working today in many other federal agencies. I've mentioned some of the obvious benefits from the decision level. Joint Chiefs, EOC commanders, and GIO data managers around the country will be able to quickly wrap their arms around the data that matters to make sound decisions. Independence is nice, but from the Guard office level, it'd be nice if our data could flow quickly to the decision makers. And having been out of disasters, I can say that the people we help are deeply grateful. If GeoGuard lets us help more people faster, then it's an idea worth supporting.